Hey everyone, Jeff here from Films at Home, and today we've got a 25th anniversary release of an animated classic to review on 4K. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel today for this review. Today we're going to be diving into the world of The Prince of Egypt here on its 25th anniversary 4K release from DreamWorks and Universal. So quickly on the movie itself, being the 25th anniversary, and I'm 30, almost 31, 30 and a half at this point. I watched this movie quite a bit growing up. I had a VHS copy that went through the player many times, was heavily used. It was a really, really good movie. And I think as a kid, you don't actually realize that. It's just another, DreamWorks title, which you're excited to watch. And with all DreamWorks did in the late 90s and early 2000s, like, it became pretty popular. And The Prince of Egypt just has some incredible performances. It has a Hans Zimmer score. Like, he's the guy who works with Christopher Nolan, who did Interstellar, who did The Dark Knight, who did like Inception. Like, huge deal that he was on the score for this. He does incredible work with the sound, and just the direction of the movie and the animation is incredible. It looks great, and that always stood out to me. Like, in 1998 when this came out, this was a revelation, and I think it got overlooked. It did get some Academy Award nominations, but man, this movie is really better than it should be. And if you're worried about it being like overly religious or anything, like, this is not VeggieTales. Like, I was not raised to be super religious. I am definitely not religious at all right now, any religion, but I can appreciate the historical story that's being told here, which is true and is really broken down in a beautiful way by the animators at DreamWorks. So I think it's well worth a revisit. If you haven't seen it in some time, I think you'll be blown away by how good this looks for 25 years old. Now, the 4K visuals here are very, very impressive. HDR, of course, with 4K animation always tends to be the biggest area that blows me away. But if you compare this to the Blu-ray release, which was out there, that release had some issues. It had some like marks on the film, and it had some I don't know, like lines and errors, and it wasn't like fully completely restored, which is interesting because it was not that old a movie. But it wasn't a pristine copy by any means, and they've clearly gone back here and done some restoration work and really cleaned it up for 4K. It has a really fine grain structure and great detail, but the colors, I mean, that's really where I get the most excited for animation, and that is where it takes a huge leap over what you could previously get. If you haven't watched this one since like the days of VHS, which that was the case for me, like, I haven't watched this movie in probably 20 years, I was just blown away because I have, a memory in my head of like what it looked like and how it looked. And I'm like, yeah, it's a kid's movie. No, like, the animation here is top notch. This 4K disc is top notch. Look great on my OLED TV. It will look great on your TV. If you get anything that's higher end, those colors are really going to fly off your screen. So overall, was just super impressed with the work that DreamWorks did here for this 25th anniversary. They clearly took some time and effort. Is it perfect? No. It still has a couple of like weird moments, but honestly, you're going to be so engrossed in the movie that you're not going to notice them. They are split-second little details that if you weren't a complete freak like me who's literally reviewing image quality, you probably wouldn't even notice. So that is no mark against this release. It is a very solid 4K transfer all around, and adding HDR and an excellent color grade on top of it makes this a must own on 4K. Now, on top of the great visuals, you also have some great audio, interestingly enough, with a Dtsx. A lot of you are used to Dolby Atmos. You may not even know Dtsx. That's essentially the DTS equivalent of Dolby Atmos. So Dolby has their Atmos, DTS is another sound encoding company, and they have Dtsx. So it's that same sort of experience, right? It's that immersive object-based surround sound. And it's pretty good here. There were a couple moments where I had to maybe do some volume adjustments, or I thought maybe it could have been balanced a little bit better. So I'm not going to give it a perfect score. Or Hans Zimmer's score does sound fantastic. That's clearly a highlight. When that kicks in, your sound system is going to be roaring. The dialogue and some other moments where I was like, maybe a slight adjustment to the volume. But again, nothing that if you weren't reviewing this specifically for audio and video that you'd probably even notice. Maybe if you're a real stickler, but I just thought it was excellent overall, very immersive, but really I was hoping that Hans Zimmer in that beautiful score, which I believe it won an Academy Award for, or at least was nominated. I think it won an Academy Award, at least for song or score. That sounds great, and that was where I was really looking for this to shine, and it did. So I would definitely recommend this. 4K visuals, great. Dtsx audio, great as well. Solid 4.25, 4.5 out of 5 from me. Now the packaging here is also really cool. You get the slipcover, right? And it's got the 25th anniversary sticker, which is on the slipcover. You could peel it off if you wanted to, but I love that all of the gold is actually like shinier than the rest. So everything that's gold, from the little like chest plates to the headband to the text, even to the 4K logo up top, everything has a real like shine and shimmer to it. It really feels premium, which is pretty nice. Like a lot of times this would be just like kind of flat artwork, and they really did a cool job with the gold here. You know, really the Prince of Egypt and the pyramids and that whole time period just kind of screams gold and opulence to me, at least maybe from the pharaohs side of things. But I think Egypt, I think gold, and this really does stand out. And even on the back, you know, everything is gold and shiny. On the inside, you will find the 4K disc, the Blu-ray disc, and a digital code for Movies Anywhere, which should redeem in 4K. For special features, everything's ported over from the Blu-ray. So there's a handful of special features. There's the making of. There's actually a multi-language presentation. There's some stuff on animation, specifically the chariot race, technical effects. There's a commentary with directors Brenda Chapman, Stephen Hickner, and Simon Wells, but that's it. So everything's legacy that's carried over for an anniversary release. Would have been nice to maybe have like a retrospective, but at least you're getting the minimum that was over from the Blu-ray. So overall, I think this is well worth it, especially at the price point. It's only going for about $19.99, so for a new 4K release, that's a pretty good deal. You can also get it over on groove.com, which is where I picked mine up. Package it with some other movies. You can get 20% off your first order if you sign up for their emails. So there's a lot of ways you can get this for like fairly cheap, for like 17, 18 bucks. I grabbed it from Groove. It was at my house in a couple days, came in great shape with the slipcover, and you know, just amazing 4K visuals, really solid Dtsx audio. Overall, very nice package, in a movie that is well worth revisiting if you haven't seen it in some time and you have any interest at all in history in this time period, or just maybe film and animation. Check out Prince of Egypt, because I think it's been slept on for a while and it really holds its own with some of the greatest animated movies of all time. So if you do want to pick this up, I'll throw a couple links out there. There'll be a link to the groove.com listing and a link to the amazon.com listing. Whichever one you use, it helps support my channel, so I appreciate it. You can find that in the description and in the pinned comment. Also, make sure you're subscribed here on the channel so you never miss a review like this and never miss a podcast. Make sure you follow me over there on all your podcast platforms. Right here on YouTube, I have the video versions as well. And of course, like this video so others will see it, and follow me on social media to stay up to date with everything that's going on in the world of films at home. I appreciate the support there. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. Here's to getting more great 4K releases like this, and I will talk to you all soon.